So into our third lesson for the food processing class. First, we solve some homework from yesterday lesson. はい、そこへの衛生的の取り扱いについて誤ったことはどれですか？作業着についた埃など異物を取り除く。従業員の健康管理を行う。衛生的な作業着をしなくてもいいです。So, in first question, they're asking about how to handle sanitization in food processing. In I answer, we have to remove dust and foreign objects from our uniform or work clothes. So it is right answer. But in this question, they are asking about what is the wrong answer. So I hear right answer. So E not the answer for this. B. You go in. You're a worker and can go candy or environment health for the worker. It is also right. So it is not from the answer. C. 衛生的な作業着を着なくてもいい。So it is fine to not to wear work clothes. So the right answer is the C answer because this is the wrong answer. Second question. はい、原材料を受け入れるとき、安全的上でしなければならないことは何ですか？保管場所、冷凍庫などの温度、湿度を管理を行う。はい、受け入れて、原材料は湿温度で保管する。C、受け入れて先を確認しなくて、どこでも置いてもいいです。So when we receive raw material, what is the must thing we have to do? In I answer, when we store the raw material in the right temperature and humidity, 保管場所 like storage place like cool refrigerator and we have to manage them in the right 湿度 and温度 right temperature and right humidity. So this is the right answer, right? I right answer. When we take them, when we receive the raw material, 原材料 raw material は湿温は like room temperature, but you can see that here in the book that said in the temperature and humidity must be fixed temperature and humidity, so it is not room temperature. So B answer is not right. And when we receive the raw material, we have to check them. So check them first beforehand. So in C answer, they said that we don't have to check them. 確認しなくて we don't have to check them beforehand. And we can put that anywhere you find. どこでも置いてもいい。So C is not right answer. C and B is not right answer. So the right answer for this is I answer. ハサプの原則について 正しいものを選びなさい。はい。原則3、モニタリング方法を設定。B、原則1は、誘導管理点の決定である。C、原則6は、検証法を設定。So, we can see that in the book here about 7 gensoku in Hasapu. You can see that here. The first gensoku はキー概要因分析内 analysis of the cause of the harmful matter. So in this question, the 現在原則1は誘導管理点 so E not right answer. 誘導管理点 E 原則2 from 原則 principle number 2 E critical control point setting so E 原則 number 2 and the I answer is 原則3は monitoring but in the book that said they said 管理基準を設定 so we setting the critical limit in 原則3 not setting the monitoring is from 原則 number 4 from principle number 4 so the right answer is 原則 number 6検証方法を設定 setting the verification step so the right answer for number 3 is C answer ハサプの原則に何種ありますか I B7 C8 Okay, so we can remember that in the book here there are 7 gensoku for that or 7 principles for Hasapu. The first is キー概要因分析 analysis of the harmful matter. 原則 number 2 is 誘導管理点の設定 setting the critical control point. 原則3管理基準を設定 setting a critical limit. 原則 number 4 is モニタリング方法を設定 so setting the monetization 原則 number 5 is 完全装置を設定 setting the how to renew the process or how to improve the process for manufacturing. 原則6原則方法を設定 setting the verification step and 原則7記録を作成 we establish a record of the information. So in this question there is a total of 7 principles for Hasapu. So is the B answer. 生物的機械の管理上で食品の前と他の温度について間違い点はどれですか？それとは15C 以下 B 冷凍魚肉の練り製品は 마이너스 UC 이까 C 스카니니코 소리지 소세지와 So the right answer for this is B answer. You guys will learn about this from the lesson. This lesson. 학습부를 발성とする健康障害を引き起こす可能性のある上位の中で間違っていることは何ですか So, what is the factor that harmful about health about in HACCP we need to think about? So, there are three of them. First is Sebusuteki Kigai. It is content about bacteria, virus, and so harmful bacteria. The second thing is Kakuteki Kigai. It is about chemical like Senzai, detergent, Sakinzai, pesticide, Sachuzai. The last thing is Buchuriteki Kigai. It contains metal, glass, stone, and plastic. So the right answer for this, they're asking about what is the factor that is wrong in this answer. So the right answer for this is B answer because it is wrong answer. Sugo chudoku yobo wa sangen soku wa chute tarashi mono o erabi nasai. I つけない、増やさない、殺す。B、温度、水分、栄養分。C、税根、冷却、税等。So, what is the three principles for preventing food poisoning? I answer is do not let bacteria grow. And last thing is kill the bacteria. B about temperature, water, and nutrient. C about storage and cooling. So in the book, there are three principles for preventing food poisoning. The first principle is kino tsukanai. It is about do not touch or bring the material bacteria into the workplace. The second principle is kino fujasanai. Do not let bacteria grow. And the last thing is kino or korosu, killing the bacteria. So there are three principles for preventing food poisoning. First is do not bring them, do not touch them. Second thing is do not let them grow. And last thing is do not killing the bacteria. So the right answer for the seventh question is I answer. 菌が増殖するは3つの上層は次のどれで正しいですか？温度、水分、栄養分。B、温度、機械、道具、器具。C、税根、冷凍、加熱。What is the three factors that let the bacteria grow? I answer. Temperature, water, and nutrient. B answer is about temperature, machine, and tool. C answer about storage, cooling, and heating. You can see that here in the book. The three factors for bacteria to grow in the 温度、水分 and 栄養分 temperature, water, and nutrient is treating three factors to let the bacteria grow. 増殖、機能、 増殖、温度、水分、栄養分。So the right answer for this is I answer. 昨日、増やさないために、食品の取り扱い、間違ってことを選びなさい。加熱した食品はできるだけゆっくり冷却する。B、食品を保管適切な温度で管理するを確認。C、冷凍庫は食品別に適切な温度で管理する。So, to prevent the bacteria to grow, what do you need to do? So B answer. What is the wrong thing? So in B answer, we have to manage them in the appropriate temperature and store them in appropriate temperature. So in C answer, we have to separate them into cooling storage or cold storage. For each of the food that we put out. So the wrong answer is I answer. 加熱した食品でできるだけゆっくりを冷却する。So after we heating them, we will slowly cooling them. But we have to cooling them in the right temperature and in the right time, not slowly cooling the food put out. 10. 一般衛生管理の目的は何ですか？清潔な環境を出すこと。B、機械の効率を向上されること。作業者の業務負荷増やすこと。So, what is the law of general sanitation law? What's the purpose of them? I answer about making a healthy environment. B about advance the machine. C about increase the burden of the work for the worker. So B and C not right. So right answer for this is I answer. 作業者の健康管理の目的は何ですか？ I、体調を不良くときは仕事をしないこと。業務技量は増やすこと。業務絶好削量を向上されること。What is the purpose of the health management for worker? B answer about increase the burden of the work for the worker. C about increase the working speed. In I answer, if when you have bad time or you have fever or your condition isn't good, you don't have to work in that day. So in the book that we can see here, here is 健康管理 health management, right? ゼロさは体の調子を整えて、体調が悪い時には仕事しない。So when our health is bad, we don't need to work. So in this question, I answer. 悪い交差音声は何ですか？同じ原材料を混ざすこと、企業の戦力と異物が食品に混入すること。So, what is the cross contamination? So, in the book here, you can see that about cross contamination. 交差温泉とか異なる原材料を混ざすことです。So, it is about C answer because 異なる原材料を混ざることです。When strengthening happen in our material. ハサプは何の学ですか？ So what is HACCP is something about? So really just a basic integration. So HACCP is hazard analysis and critical control point. So it is B answer. 一家のうち生物的危害はどうして新しいものどれですか？ So which one of them is 生物的危害 like the biochemical harmful? About 洗剤 detergent that is 化学 in chemicals. 残り10の弱 that is also in 化学 in chemical. The last is C answer. B 生物 in 生物的危害. So it is bacteria or microbacteria. It belongs to 生物的危害. Number 15. 物理的危害は正しいものをうちのどれですか？ So now I said before, 残り10の弱 in 化学 in chemical. But in this question, they are asking about physical harmful. 生物、微生物 in bio harmful. So the right answer is glass or glass. That is in physical harmful. It is C answer. はい、ハサプの衛生管理では、被害の発生、防ぐために、時に、管理する必要があるプランは何とよりますか？ So, what is the step we need to do to prevent the harmful that can occur in HACCP? So, I answer in 誘導管理点 critical control point. B critical step like critical step. C 重要 step important step. So the most important thing about HACCP or LACCP is to setting the critical control point. So there is no things are at critical step and usual step. They did not exist in the book. So the most appropriate answer for this question is I answer. 重要管理点 like critical control point. So into our lesson today, we will learn about the rest of the chapter 2, the second chapter of 安全な食品の制度. So to create a safety food processing. First, we need to know about生物的危機がの管理 about management of the bio harmful. So the first bio harmful 生物的危害の対象は以下のあげる生物を指します。So there are some of the bio harmful that we need to know about. The first thing we need to know about is cycling. Cycling は like bacteria 単細胞の生物 So it is living thing, single celled living thing, that is bacteria. The second thing we need to know about is Rickettsia. Rickettsia is this little thing right here. It's a little bit disgusting, but we cannot see it with bare eye or with normal eye. So Rickettsia is 細菌より小さくて So it is smaller than microorganism. It is smaller than bacteria, but virus より生物 微生物 So, but it is bigger than virus. That is Rickettsia. So the third thing we need to know is about virus. Virus is about 細菌などに感染するもの。So we have virus in our body. We will get sick, right? So it is called infectious because it bring people like sickness. So viruses are infectious organisms such as bacteria. So it is virus, Rickettsia, and cycling. The fourth thing we need to know is about Genju. Genju is protozoa. So it is単細胞 like single celled, like before, right? Single celled 単細胞の寄生虫など、寄生虫はパラサイ。Parasite. It is single-celled parasite. はい、Kobo regis. You know regis in the making breast and miso, right? So, miso パンなど多く発酵食品を含まれている。So, it is to fermentation of food such as miso and pan. So it breaks down the carbon and into alcohol. Alcohol と炭酸ガス CO2 ガス。糖分のアルコールと炭酸ガスを分解する微生物など体に良い。So 体に良い。It is good for the body. And it breaks down carbon from turbine, like break down carbon from to one side, break down for carbon from alcohol to alcohol and CO2. The last thing you need to know about is kabi. Kabi is molded. Molded は巻きんと呼ばれるもの。呼ばれるもの。So it is a type of fungus. So it is known to have like full size を進めて It accelerates the decay of the rotten of the food. So these are Dokumomotu. So Kabi have fun poison in them. So we need to know about 16, right? Cycin, bacteria, rickettsia, virus, genju, kiseju, parasite, kobo, yeast, and nothing can be molded. So, how to prevent all the bacteria that we learn about? We need to know about 3 principles to prevent the bacteria. Now, the first principle is kino tsukenai, kino mochikomenai. So do not touch the bacteria and do not bring them in. So in first principle, we need to know 作業場を外から機能入れないように手洗いを徹底する。So wash your hands thoroughly to prevent bacteria from entering from to the workplace from outside. 外から機能入れないように to not bring the bacteria from outside to the workplace. We need to wash our hands truly. The second thing we need to know about is 作業場は製造基準を守って清潔をします。So keeping the workplace clean and obey the cleaning standards. Like 清掃基準の cleaning standards. Obey the cleaning standards or to protect the cleaning standards in the workplace. And to clean the workplace if you have the time. The third thing we need to know is 作業で使う道具や設備など洗浄を基準を守る。So, the tool we use or the equipment we use in the working process, we need to wash them or cleaning them. So cleaning the equipment and the tools that we use for work. The fourth thing is 下痢など体調を悪化したときは作業者は管理者にすぐ報告します。So, if you have like problem like giddy, like diarrhea, or your body have been in the bad condition, 体調が悪化したときは So, if you have those symptoms, you have to inform to the manager. 作業者は管理者にすぐに報告します。So, immediately report to the manager. The fifth thing is about 加熱する前に食品を加熱した後で食品が接触しないように分けて加熱するために基準整備します。So we will set the standards before the heating process and after the heating process. So we will separate them and do not touch the food directly. The second principle is 機能増やさない。 So do not let the bacteria grow. So about bacteria, 菌は温度、水分、栄養分など原因で増殖します。So bacteria will grow due to 温度、水分 and 栄養分 because three of the thing. Bacteria will grow because temperature, water, and 栄養分 like nutrient. 菌を増やさないために方法として冷凍、冷蔵庫、乾燥などを行いします。So about the method to not letting the bacteria grow, we need to freeing them or cooling them or drying them. It is to prevent the bacteria from multiplying. So we storage the food product in here, right? In storage, cooling storage. It is so cold to get in here. I remember getting here in 5 minutes and I feel like I'm dead in already. So in Gensoku number 2, there is 5 things we need to remember about. 食品の保管適切温度で管理しているか確認します。So the first thing is make sure the food is stored at the appropriate temperature. So 保管 storage 適切 appropriate 温度 temperature. Make sure the food is stored at the appropriate temperature. The second thing we need to know is ガヌスタ食品を冷却するときは冷却条件の温度時間を把握します。So when we are cooling food product from the heating process, we need to know about the condition of cooling, like temperature and hour. We must understand that. The third thing we need to know is 冷凍庫や冷蔵庫は食品別数適切で管理します。So we manage the fridge and refrigerator at the appropriate for each type of foods. So 冷凍庫は like about around 5 degree, right? And 冷蔵庫は into around -50 degree. So each type of the storage is different. So we must know which of the food need to put in the cooling storage or cold storage. The fourth thing we need to know is 食品の汚れた水分は菌の栄養分になります。So when we like drop foods or in the food had dust in them, the moisture in the dust will become the nutrient for the bacteria to grow in it. So if we drop the food and let them get dirty, we will need to wash them with the water. So because the dust or the dusty part will become the nutrient for the food, so we have to remove them from the food, remove the dust and the water from the foods. So about the raw material storage, we need to remember this table. The first thing is we need to know about this table is Koku Motsu Kako Hin. It is about like strange stuff or like rice or some mugi, komugi or gluten. So we can store them in Sisuon at room temperature for rice and something like that. For grain or rice, we need to store them in room temperature. That is the same thing for sato. Sato is sugar. Sugar, we can store them in room temperature. Hai, sukuniku, kuriyaniku. So about the meat we eating right away, we can store them at 10 C. Ika. Ika like below is okay. Like normal meat and whale meat, we can store them at 10 degree. Hosoki girista sukuniko kuyariniko 解凍したものを蒸気包丁を入れたもの So about the thinnest like normal meat or whale meat, and when we have defrost the meat and put them in the package, we need to store them at minus 15 degree or below. In this Sukuniku Seihin about the product for the meat product, you can store them at 10 degree or below. All of this is below is okay. Like Sukuniku, Kuyaniku, like normal meat. If you store them at 5 degree okay, or even minus 15 degree okay, because it's a set Ika. So the same thing for Kuiraniku Seihin. The same thing for whale meat product. You can store them at 10 degree or below. About the cooling food for normal meat and whale meat, we have to store them at minus 15 degree or below. So the second thing is yure taco. Yure taco like the octopus, we need to store them in 10 degree. Cooling octopus in minus 15 degree. Namako soyo kaki. About the raw eating meat, or this is like clam, right? Kaki clam. We need to store them at 10 degree. About cooling clam is about minus 15. All of the cooling product, Zeto Sokuino, is about minus 15 degree. Gyoniku, sausage. So sausage for fish or packet fish product, hamu, fish ham, or packet fish ham. We can store them at 10 degree. Cooling Nico. Cooling Gonico. Zeto Gonico Neri Seihin. About fish product, cooling fish product, we can store it at minus 15 degree or below. So, Eki, yo, you see, it is about oil in the water stage. We can store it at room temperature. But about the koke, you see, about the oil that have been in the frozen state like zaro, margarine, soto nickel, cacao arabu. We need to store them in 10 degree with the because it is like because it's solid like oil, solid oil. We need to store them at 10 degree. Karachuki tamago or taurus egg. We need to store them at 10 degree. Akiran like it is liquid egg. We need to store them at 8 degree. Tokisuran, that's frozen egg. We need to store them at minus 18 degree. Kansoran, like dry egg. We need to store them in room temperature. About nasu, like nut about 15 degree. Chocolate in 15 degree. Seisen karisu yasai. About food, fresh fruits and vegetable in about 10 degree. Seisen yokai rồi. Fresh fish meat about 5 degree. New, no sugar new. So about milk we have 10 degree. This is our milk for oat milk and cream. Butter we can store them in 15 degree. Cheese is about the same cheese. Genuine like it is the same stuff up milk, but it need to be condensed milk. So in 50 degree. One of the other stuff like say in those food like the water we need to for manufacturing or some of the other stuff we can store them at room temperature. So between 20 degree to 50 degree, it is important to not leave the food product in this temperature range for a long time because it is easy for the bacteria to multiply. 上昇速をシェアするので、この温度帯に長い間放置しないことを重要です。So it is important to not leave the food product in this range of temperature in the long time. So we need to cooling the product after we receiving them or after we heating them. So 30分以内に食品の中心温度を20付近まで下げます。So we need to decrease the temperature to 20 degree in about 30 minutes. The same thing up here, but in 60 minutes we need to decrease the temperature by to 10 degree. So you need to remember 30 degree in 13 minutes we need to decrease that into 20 temperature, and in 60 minutes we need to decrease that to 10 temperature. Into the last principle, to kill the bacteria. So this is the most effective way to prevent food poisoning. これはソロク中毒予防で最も効果である方法。So this is the most effective way to prevent bacteria from our foods. So to kill that we can use 殺菌。殺菌の方法じゃ殺菌剤について正しい知識を身について適切を殺菌します。So we need to know about the method to kill the bacteria as well as how to use the chemical to kill them. We need to have the correct 正しい知識 have the right knowledge about using the chemical to kill the bacteria and how to kill it appropriately. 殺菌のために食品を加熱するときは目標とする金属を決めている適切な温度と時間を行う。So when we are heating the food product to killing the bacteria, we have to set like the appropriate setting. 決まっている setting the appropriate temperature and time for each of the target when we are heating to killing the bacteria. So there are two types of bacteria. The first type is cyanide, 毒素型. So cyanide is like in our body. The first thing, the poison in our body, go in our body. 食品についた菌が食べた人のお腹の中で吹いて毒素を作り、体の細胞を破壊したり、ゲノ疎開を起こります。So the bacteria grow on food side. It appears on the foods. But when we eat the food, 食べた人のお腹の中で吹いて。But when we eat the food product, it is when the bacteria grow. So 毒素を作り。So they will make the toxin in our body and destroy the body cell and cause health problem. So this is a time that the bacteria eat on the food, but only grow in when we eat the food and grow in our body. Therefore, they will make the toxin in our body. So into the second type of this, 食品内毒素型. So in the food, right? はい、食品についた菌が食品の中で吹いて dosoku chukurimasu. So about this bacteria, it also contain in food, but they will grow in the food already and making the toxin in the food. So when we eating the food, we immediately feeling the toxin and cause health problem. 人間がその毒素を増えた食品を食べると健康障害が起こります。So one time, SSW2 is about the making toxin in our body. And the second type is making the toxin in the food. And when we eat the food, we get poison for that. はい、กินは見えない。So we cannot see the bacteria to bare naked eyes. But 熱じゃ安剤で多くの菌を助けることができる。But we can kill them by chemical and to heating. 熱に注白して200以上でも死なないカーボンあります。So we can killing the bacteria by using chemical or heating them. But in some cases, the bacteria is too strong. So even we heating them at 100 degree, they will not die from it. So in some cases, some bacteria will not die from heating to 100 degree. So 必要において技能知識のある人を確認や相談することを対応を重要です。So in this situation, we need to, if necessary, it is effective to check with somebody has knowledge about bacteria and conceal them to have the most effective way to deal with the bacteria. 情報対策を買って判断で借りたりやめたりことをすることがないように管理することが重要。So it is important to manage them to measure that they are not changed or disconnected the prevention of prevent the bacteria. So we need to manage them to not let them preventive measure or change or discontinue the step. はい、科学的機械の管理 Management about chemical stuff. So about chemical, we have two of this type under here. 科学的機械は主に一家二つの部類があります。人が意図した添加したものをより機械、食品添加物、洗剤、殺虫剤、殺菌剤、残留、農薬など。So the first thing we need to know about, we use this chemical, though chemical with intention, like additive or detergent or killing bacteria or to kill some pesticide, kill some bug, right? So it is intentionally using by human. So that is the number one. The second thing you need to know is about 製品の途中、偶然の混入したものにより、機械、設備の潤滑剤、洗剤残りなど。So there are some of the substances that accidentally got into our food product, like oil for equipment, like this oil for equipment can get into our food, or some detergent when we wash the equipment or tool we use for manufacturing. So that is two types of the chemical harmful. So to prevent this, we need to know about 水溶が記憶化されていないものを含まれていたり、自動基準を超えない量が含めている場合に問題となります。So the problem appear when we using a substance that are not permitted 記憶化されていない that is not permitted, or when we using that for exceed standards 超える量 exceed standards。 使用する化学品は化学品の管に関する法律などを管理します。守るべきことや注意事項を把握して、使用や条例を設定することを重要です。So we have to check the law, 法律 and regulation for this regarding the chemical we are using. We have to check the law, 法律を確認します。Right? And about the regulation regarding about that chemical. So we need to read the law because we need to read about the precaution. We need to understand the 注意事項 the precaution of the chemical, and how many amount of that can we use. First thing is 物理的 like physical content。 物理的被害は中央に食品中存在しない異物による怪我をする可能性があるものを指します。So physical hazards refer to the possibility of injury caused by foreign objects that are not normally foreign food. So these are the frozen objects that is not normally foreign food, like metal object, right? Like glass or hair, right? 異物には金属やガラスなど硬いもの、紙の毛や糸くずなど柔らかいものを様々なものがある。So it contains glass, or metal, or hair. So to prevent them into our foods, we need to do three things below. 異物の購入した防ぐために管理するには以下3つの分類があります。異物なことから、食品の入ったものが考えて、異物が発生しないようにする発生源対策。So we have to source source control about raw material, which is how the foreign matter enter the food and preventing from occurring again. 異物が生えていることが検知するを検査が対策。So we need to inspect them and how the object got in the food that we are manufacturing. 単実した異物を取り除く。取引を対策。So after we are like finding the strained material, we need to remove that. So there is some of the major sources of foreign matter. 主な異物の発生源。人の従来異物。So it is from human like 毛髪、中年など hair or nail。原材料由来の異物。骨の変じゃ外然原材料変。中中味材の異物など。So it is about like bone in the material or some material, raw materials fragment or part of packaging. So the third thing we need to know about is SSW2 由来異物。肺圏部品、備品の一部。整備、浄水、早期、空調を含まれている。チェッキ、じゃあゴミ、洗浄器具の一部など。So, about the equipment contain foreign matter. It is about the part of the feature, rust or dust, water from service, steam, air condition, or trash, gomi jars, or one of the part of the killing equipment. So to find the strain object, we need to know about truly divided. 発生源のミスのあるため、金属検出機や X 検査装置など検出するなど管理ことが行う一般的です。So we will using like detecting them by using metal detector or X-ray protection inspection equipment. But しかし、それは、機器は、特性の異物を検出はすることはできませんが、性能が限界があって、完全でありません。So, but very normal that even though they can like detecting foreign object, but they are made with limitation, so this is not perfectly made. So 6、その他の管理 about other management 誤差汚染防止以下のような取り組みをします。So the following measures can be taken to prevent cross contamination, prevent 誤差汚染 prevent cross contamination 原材料と製品を加え消して晴らせれた場所を置く軽くする。So celebrate the store and store raw material and finished product in separate location. So 現在用と製品と we have to like storage them as a separate room or separate row of the cell. You can see that here. We need to separate raw material like meat here and finished product like other product. 壁や建物など作業する場所を区分する。So several work area with wall or building. 複数の作業者を席をしないので、中路を一方交通をする。So to prevent the worker have contact between worker, it is better to build one-way walking eyes. It is important to build one-way walking paths. Do not let the worker contact with each other. So you can see that in the picture here. It is one-way walking. So we need to know about 空気のが流れ制御して一方通行をする。So we need to also control air flow to ensure that it's one-way airflow. 水が跳ねて混入しないようにある程度の高さ60程度のところで作業や運搬を行う。So work and transport should be carried out at certain height, about 60 centimeter, to preventing like water splashing in the food product and mixing in the product. So we need to transport and manufacturing them at appropriate height. 機が上位の分析を行うときは、紙の振ってってミスをよりミスと速度伝導することが一般的である。When conducting a hazard analysis, it is common to consider risk due to management mistake. However, しかし、人為的混入した医療的を危害存在した医療的危害の注意点はフードセーブ食品防御と言います。でも言います。という対策の必要があります。Yeah, so there are some mistakes of the manager too in the working process, but there is some intentional mistake hazards that contain human contamination, and for this, the intentional hazards, it is necessary to take measures such as food defense. So about food defense is 工場や加工場へ購入数を制限し、いつ誰が入足退出した記録します。So restricting entry to factory and processing plant and recording we enter ဒါတက music ဆို and leaving the room we have to record them who we enter and who we leave in the room カメラを設置して作業を監視ます so we install the camera in our factory to monitor working process ポケットのない作業着を変える so we need to change the work clothes into the one that don't have the pocket in them よく駅など価格品かけて自由に利用はできません so about the chemical we have to knock them in the locket because this cannot be used freely so we have to lock the chemical stop so very on for the lesson today